Hello, DMV. This is Emore'J Couture, and this week is actually HIV and AIDS Awareness Weekend. This actual story is going to be focusing on the life of Calvin Gerald. Calvin Gerald is a survivor of HIV and AIDS. He's living a fabulous life. I want you to follow us as we travel around with Calvin Gerald to see some of his community events that he features himself in, some of the things that he's done for his community, and also how he's dealing with the life of HIV and AIDS.
This guy, Wallace Corbett, his bio is over there, and this young guy right here, he photographed everybody that's on the wall. And Michael St. Ambrose, he's like a entertainer and performer in DC, and so like his bio is actually on the other wall around there. And I think it's another guy.
Friend of mine, actually.
I know, I fell in love with your page like the first time I saw it.
Really? Why? How so?
The clothes, and then like how, like, even though I'm 30 and you're like,
You're 30 years old?
I'm 30. I'm gonna
My
be 31
Jesus,
next
she's
month.
like 23. But you're my age.
The way you carry yourself and the way that you are like, just have like the I can do anything. Like it's things that I'm like, oh God, I need to have that in myself. And so like the more like I see like your blogs or whatever, it's like I can get up and like go to work. I can get up and finish my masters or whatever like that. And I like, even though sometimes my family don't support me or whatever like that, like, just like looking at some of the stuff that you've done, like if he can do that, I can do that. Like if this black guy can do that, then I can do that. Like if he's like almost the same complexion as me, I can do that. Because like when I first moved here, like it was just like, oh, you're nice for a dark skinned guy. You're nice for a dark skinned skinny guy. And it's like, Ma, I didn't know I was black until I moved to, the DC. And so like a lot of things I didn't know, so I didn't know where to look for love at and like with the trust. And so like, I guess I dated the wrong people. And so like, and I didn't know, like I told you out there, I didn't know a whole lot about like HIV and AIDS. And so like, it took 3 STDs until on the final one. When I used to work for the federal government, I went on my lunch break, and that's when I found out I had HIV or whatever. And
how did it make you feel when you found out?
I didn't know what to do because the first person I called was my partner, and I told him, and when I got home, he wasn't there, and he went out that night with his friends, and he stayed out with his friends until like 6 or 7 the next morning, and so I was like, okay, I don't know what to do, and like that was the only person I had when I lived in Baltimore at the time, and so like I didn't know what to do then, and so
were you informed at all of what the virus was?
No, I wasn't.
So when you first heard, because I know you have heard of it before,
but
but you never associated with yourself, of course not. So when you found out that you had it, was it like, oh my God, I want to die? Like what went through your head?
Like the next week, I was like, oh God, I'm just gonna die on my way to work. Because in like upper middle income, like both my parents are preachers. Like I was always like, we had taught sex is between like a man and a woman. Like
marriage is sacred.
Yeah, and so we were never taught like sex between 2 men, even safe sex between 2 men. So like I just thought I was doing like the right thing. And so like when letters was come to the house from the health department, I didn't know what they were. And so my partner at the time, he was like, oh, there were past due medical bills that I owed. And so like one day I looked in them, and it was like, well, this person reported you were the last sexual contact, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. And so I was like,
because the Department of Health
notifies you if somebody names you as a contact when they go find out that they're HIV positive. And so you have to give a list of like all of your sexual partners.
Oh goodness! So, how does that make you? When you found out, did you feel like you were an alien or like
I felt like I was
show?
a statistic, stupid.
Like a number.
Yeah. I couldn't get out of bed. I didn't get out of bed for like a month, so I ended up leaving the government. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? So I didn't get out of bed. So like for probably like 2 or 3 months, went through my savings, and I lived like downtown Baltimore, and I was about to get put out, like literally.
You went through your savings?
Yeah, literally put out of where I lived. And so I was like, oh my God, I can't pay my rent. Like, what am I going to do? And so I went to this organization that helped like people who have HIV and AIDS. And so And they were like, well, we can't help you because, you know, because of your income. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do? And so they were like, well, literally, you have to be out on the street. And so, like, I called home, and my brother and my parents, they ended up helping me. And so I changed my my whole research in grad school from ex-offenders to affordable housing for people who have HIV and AIDS. And so that's when me and my friend, Until Holly, we started, like, the Holly Gerald Foundation. And so now what we do is...
Say that again for us.
Holly Gerald Foundation. And so what we do is we look for methods to provide stable and affordable housing for African American people that have HIV and AIDS in Baltimore and in DC.
So, are you single right now?
Yes, I'm single.
Well, in DC, most people are in this lifestyle are single. But
I'm single. People won't date me.
Yes, you said they won't.
They won't date me. I don't fit the mold of what I guess. Hair is supposed to be light skin, big curly hair, green eyes, or whatever like that, and I don't fit that mold, so like I'm single.
So we won't even get on the stereotyping of the DC male dating.
So I've been single since I've been living in DC.
Because I always think dark skin is in. I mean, I love dark ebony skin.
Right.
But I wanted to ask you, I'm sure that you have dated someone before since you have been contacted with the virus. Now, how was it when telling someone about that? Like, was that like, did you tell them, as soon as you met them, like, hey, this is me, I have HIV and AIDS, you want to leave or stay, which one? Or was it like, oh God, we don't want to lose this person, should I tell them?
Let's see. With the last person I dated, it was just more so like, oh, let me just go and tell them. And so we were just having a conversation, so I was like, well, you know, I have HIV, whatever. And so, like that,
what are you doing with these bottles of wine?
they just, like, I gave them the option before any emotions or anything was invested in me, so they can make a logical decision of what they wanted to do with me, either as be like a friend or like take it any further. Like, I didn't want them to like develop feelings for me and then I tell them. Like, I wanted to tell them before like anything happens.
So do you feel that's usually the best way how it should be done with most people dealing with HIV and AIDS?
I think so. That's the way I deal with it.
Well, I think that's pretty good too, because just like you said, you don't want them to get emotionally attached, and then you spring this on them, like, well, why didn't you tell me? And it makes another big argument, and it's like a trust situation.
Yeah, or like, say for instance, you met me in oils and you fell in love with me. If I tell you I have HIV and AIDS, after that, it wouldn't have the same effect. You would be like, oh, I can deal with that because it's Calvin. Versus you making a logical, conscious decision before you have any emotional attachments to me to be like, oh, well, if I don't know, let me ask him questions, let me educate myself and find out what's really going on with him. Is he on medication? Is he risky? Do he take care of himself? Do he go to the doctor? Like, how is his emotional state? Because just because I'm sitting here like laughing and talking to you, like yesterday I went to the emergency room, I was laid outside on the sidewalk at my job. Yeah, I was sick.
Hold on, we definitely want to get into that. So, we're going to actually go to another clip of just the life of Calvin. So I want you guys to look at this.
For being here because I'm from South Carolina and both my parents are preachers, upper middle income, and so we didn't talk about homosexuality, we didn't talk about HIV and AIDS. HIV and AIDS was talked about as the wages of sin being death. So I didn't really know what HIV was until I really moved to DC, and so that's when I experienced the first person who had HIV, and my first partner, he had HIV or whatever, but I really didn't know what it was, so just went over my head. But my second boyfriend, he had it, so I really didn't know what it was, and so in 2008 I found out I had HIV, and so I just got more involved in wanting to educate people on how to protect yourself and what it really is, and